fast to play the shitty games that suck ass. He'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in his ear. He'd rather eat the rotten asshole of a roadkill skunk and down it with beer. He's the angriest gamer you've ever heard. He's the angry Nintendo nerd. He's the angry Atari Sega nerd. He's the angry video game nerd.
Last episode, we looked at the masterpiece of shit that is Action 52. Now, we're looking at the last game, number 52, Cheetahmen. This is like the feature presentation. There's a comic book that came with the game, and plans for a whole line of Cheetahmen action figures and merchandise. They must have spent all their focus on this one game, so this one's gotta be good. Right?
It sucks, monkey butts, like all the fucking rest!
Okay, let's go. Well, it's not as bad as the other games. For one thing, it actually has a story. The action game master was at home playing his video game when suddenly an arm reached out of the TV and pulled him inside. Yo, watch the gonads. When he looked up, he saw 3 gigantic yellow bodies. It was the Cheetahmen. Oh, really? He began to explain. The Cheetahmen told of the enemies here in the game world. Don't worry, we will fight for you. The Cheetahmen ran off. And now, the Cheetahmen. What kind of story is that? The Cheetahmen are fighting for some gamer that got sucked into the TV, whom we never refer to again? What's this, a crotch burglar? Yeah, burglar's your crotch. Oh yeah, the enemies in this game are so inspired. They even resort to recycling characters from other Action 52 games, like Boob Lady and Saddam Hussein. Dude, think about it. A giant cheetah jumping over Saddam Hussein. Whoa, I never thought I'd see that. That's weird. Whenever you hit somebody, the music pauses for a brief moment. As far as the gameplay goes, there's not a whole lot to say. You just move right and kill everything in sight. What the hell? I can't go up? I can't go right either? Oh, you gotta go right before you can go up. That makes a whole lot of sense, just because the screen didn't move all the way. Now what's this? I can't walk past a hole? Even though I'm as high up as the game will allow. If you can only pass the hole from below, why is there such a big space up there? Not to mention, why couldn't the cheetah fall down the hole instead of exploding into 4 glowing orbs? Oh, and guess how the level ends? Like that. It just stops. What more do you expect? Welcome to the most awesome glitch of all. I'm jumping perpetually in midair. Yeah, I could do this all day. That's no problem. Oh, what the fuck? I went through the top of the screen and came out the bottom and died? You might say it's my fault for cheating, but come on, when I fall down, I don't drop through the ceiling and live. Besides, there's more enemies in the air than on the ground, so I don't recommend it. In level 3, you're a different Cheetahmen. This is where the game starts to get hard. First of all, to die, all it takes is a few hits. Then because this big tub of fuck is such a large target, you can't duck either, so there's not much you can do to avoid all these projectiles. The jumping glitch only gets you so far. Fuck. Fuck. Oh no! Wait a minute. A 1-up? And it skips me to the next level? Aw, kick fucking ass! Life is kinda cool sometimes. But here's the weird part. The next level's supposed to be 4, but it's called 3. So there's 2 level 3s? It begins with this bizarre flashing disco strobe with Tetris blocks. What's that all about? And what's this? A health bar? I have a health bar all of a sudden? Well, that's convenient. I don't know why it's not in the other levels. And now the jumping glitch doesn't work anymore? The rules of jumping change from level to level? The major reason why it's so difficult is because you outrun the screen, so you're always taking damage from enemies that you can't see until it's too late. I mean, look how far to the right I am. Oh shit. You gotta jiggle back and forth just to get the screen oriented properly. Rhino Man here, or Rocksteady, whoever the fuck he is, he kills you in one hit. Doesn't matter how much health you have, he runs right in and you're dead. The only way to beat him is to very slowly inch your way up, and as soon as he appears, you run all the way to the left. If you're just a hair too late, you're dead. Then you have to make very subtle taps with the D-pad to get yourself facing right, and one tiny step forward, just enough so he can't touch you. It's like the only way to beat this game is to cheat. Guess that's why it's called Cheetahmen. Now we're up to level 4, which is actually 5. This time you get a cheetah that shoots arrows with a crossbow. You'd think that would make it easier. But no, the arrows never hit anything. They're too small and you can only shoot one at a time. It doesn't matter how careful you are, the enemies will always sneak in a hit before you can kill them. By the way, the health bar's gone again, but the formula's the same. 3 or 4 hits and you're dead. And I die on the first 3 or 4 enemies. Wow. The fuck nuggets who made this game thought they were going to make action figures and it was going to be the next best thing to Ninja Turtles? Well, that's the end of Action 52. But they made a Cheetahmen sequel. Oh yeah. You know how with a bad game, sometimes you wonder how could it have even made it in the stores? Well, this is a case in which the horror was so unspeakable, the game was never released. The cartridges were taken to a warehouse where they remained for years to come. It was never meant to be played. Then, in the late 90s, a massive break-in took place. The cartridges were discovered and became valuable collector's items. That's a true story, except that the real story was probably a little less dramatic than that. Only 1,500 of these games are known to exist, and they command outrageous prices on eBay. I don't know if I should consider myself lucky or not, but here it is, the unholy grail of gaming. Would you believe that this game is so bad it doesn't even get its own cartridge? They recycled the same plastic casing from Action 52 and put a Cheetahmen 2 sticker on the back. Let's pop this golden turd in and give it a go. The plot involves a Dr. Morbus who creates an ape-man to fight the Cheetahmen. At least it explains who the villains are this time, and no mention of the stupid Game Master. The gameplay and graphics are similar to the first Cheetahmen, and it reuses the same music. Geez, at least try to do something different. If they made Cheetahmen versus Chester Cheetah, that shit would be the motherfucking ass. The only thing original about this game is that you shoot tornadoes with a crossbow. Yeah, next time there's a tornado ripping through town, just shoot an arrow at it. At least there's a health meter this time, but how many hit points do I have? A half and 2.5? The glitches are out of control. Blocks randomly change color, there's a stone nugget that keeps appearing out of nowhere, and what is that? The game's taking an 8-bit shit. You'd think they would have ironed out all the flaws and improved all the mistakes made the first time around. But no, somehow they actually made it worse, like pouring salt on an open wound. You die by jumping. Yeah, if you walk and fall, you're fine, but jumping from a great height, you're fucked. Oh, come on, I can't land on that thing? Then why is it there? The biggest issue is not being able to duck. You couldn't duck in the first game either, but here, 90% of your enemies are on the ground. That's a major problem. I still can't accept this fact, so I'm always hoping in vain that if I press down hard enough, it'll duck. Sometimes enemies come in pairs. You can't even jump over that shit. They can't hit me here, right? What? Let's see that again. You can't even stand above the enemies. The only enemies that aren't on the ground are up in the air. Can't jump over, can't duck, and can't even shoot with a straight shot. You have to pull off a tricky jumping shot, but the enemies appear so quickly you don't have time. The second level boss, on the other hand, is too easy. All he does is run to the right, never jumps, never throws anything, never changes pattern, just runs in the same direction until he's dead. Level 3, it's the big cheat again. Since all the enemies are stationed on the ground, the jumping glitch actually works favorably this time. but I don't feel bad about it. You know what, game? All the shit you put me through the first 2 levels, now it's my turn. Yeah, you wanna play dumbass? Well, double dumbass on you, motherfucker. You swine, you son of a motherless goat. Level 3? Both games have 2 level 3s? How'd they repeat the same mistake twice? Maybe it was intentional. Now it's time for the ape man. Oh, get your head out of my crotch, you monkey fuck. You won't get me this time, you son of a bitch. Whoa, speaking of monkey fuck. Get back here, you shit biscuit. Where'd he go? He's not coming back, is he? Oh, man. Alright, so can I jump up and kill myself? No? Not this time when I need it? This is limbo. This is purgatory. The only thing I can do now is reset the fucking game. You're not gonna get away this time. Yeah, bitch. Well, I beat the game. At least I got as far as you could possibly go before it fucks out. Well, this is where I'd end things. But there's yet another Cheetahmen game. Yeah, Action 52 on the Genesis. They just couldn't leave it alone, could they? Well, you'd think it would be the same as the NES version, except for enhanced graphics, but believe it or not, it's totally different. So before we can move on to the last Cheetahmen game, let's take a quick look at what these assholes shat out this time. That music is so Genesis. It's nice we have outer space on the title screen. I mean, at least they're being upfront with it this time. Look at me, I'm shooting at strands of vomit in Space Town. But to tell you the truth, there's not that many space shooters. There's only about 6. That's kind of astonishing. They probably made up for it with the abundance of puzzle games. There's nothing wrong with something that challenges your mind, but this went way overboard. It's called Action 52. I want some action. Besides, if you're going to make a puzzle game, can you at least have some instructions? There's a game called Echo, which is basically Simon Says. Come on, that thing was in every toy store in the 80s. Did we really need a watered-down version on a Sega Genesis cartridge? There's definitely more of a variety here than on the NES. There's a pinball game, a boat game, a skiing game, and a handful of different action games. But they're all just shittier clones of mediocre NES titles. There's a flying game that's worse than Top Gun, and there's a racing game that's a shittier version of Rad Racer. There's also a tank game based off Storm Over the Desert. Remember in the NES version, you're invincible and anything you touch explodes? Well here, it's the total opposite. You can't even touch a soldier. What kind of tank is that? Then there's games that are too easy. In Alien Attack, if you just keep running right and shooting, nothing will stop you. In the ninja game, you can actually run through everybody. In Bombs Away, you're running through a village avoiding bombs, but they'll never hit you as long as you keep moving. You can also jump like you're on a trampoline. Look at him, he jumps higher than the houses. And there's nothing to jump over, no holes, no obstacles, nothing at all. There's also a boxing game where the same thing happens. Have you ever seen a boxing match where somebody jumped, let alone 10 to 20 feet in the air? Another theme I've noticed is roadkill. There's a game called Freeway, which is an exact clone of an Activision game called, Freeway. They didn't even change the title. Instead of a chicken running across the street, you're a dog. That's horrible! The poor dog doesn't just get run over, it gets smushed into pieces! The other roadkill game is Skater. You're some kid on roller skates jumping 50 feet in the air, of course. And most of the obstacles are dead cats. At least I'm pretty sure they're dead. Why else would a cat be laying in the road? Tell me, if you're programming a video game and you have a choice of all the things that could be on the road, like mufflers, puddles of oil, traffic cones, hubcaps, fallen trash cans, open manholes, of all the things you could put there, why does your imagination go straight to dead cats? The names of these games are as mystifying as before. The tank game is called Norman. Is Norman the name of the guy in the tank? Then there's Sunday Drive. Yeah, just chilling out, going for a nice, relaxing Sunday drive, speeding through traffic at 100 miles per hour on a 5-lane highway. There's no accelerator, all you get is a horn, which doesn't do a damn thing. Oh look, Segaville, next exit. Again, and again, and again. For a non-existent exit, it sure has a lot of signs. There's a lot more 2-player games this time around, so if you're playing by yourself, that's just more games you can skip. Dino Tennis is pretty funny though. You're 2 dinosaurs whacking a caveman back and forth. And a purple dinosaur? Really? Don't we have Barney? Isn't that enough? They recycle the same grunt and scream sound effects countless times. Even the spaceship screams. They must have been really hard-pressed coming up with ideas to fill 52 games. This one, called Appleseed, is just a farmer catching apples. Hell shit, motherfuckers. Damn apples come out of trees so fast, motherfuckers. Then there's this shitty drawing game. Yeah, try drawing with a D-pad. Game number 51 is called First Game. Seems like a contradiction. Why isn't it the 51st game? Well, guess what? It's Pong. This blows my mind on so many levels. First of all, just the fact that they had to use Pong to fill one of the games. Second, that Pong even exists on Sega Genesis. And third, the first game? Like it's the first video game ever made? That's debatable. The Odyssey came out the same year, and that was being worked on since the 60s. And before that, there was Space War, and if you really want to go back, there's those old games made out of radar equipment like Tennis for Two. So that's all they got for the 51st game? As for the 52nd game, there is none. It's just a trial run of the hardest levels from the other games. So technically, it shouldn't even be called Action 52. There's only 50 games. But at least they're all functional. Only once I've had a game crash, and it worked after I reset the Genesis. So just being able to play all the games is more than can be said for the NES version. As for the games with identical titles, they're all different and improved from their NES counterparts. In Ooze, you can actually jump better. In Dead Ant, your ant can actually move up and down. And in Sharks, there's blood. So, let's move on to Cheetahmen, so I can clean my hands of this Action 52 shit. For some reason, this time it's game number 13. I guess they realized that there's no sense saving it till the end because it's just as shitty as all the other games. There's no story this time, no explanation, no intro, just a title screen, and then it drops you straight into the game. Is this the badass 16-bit version of Cheetahmen we'd hoped for? The background looks like the wallpaper in a baby's room. And the music, well, just listen. Sounds like something you'd hear if somebody slipped on a banana peel. Even the NES music was better. One-hit deaths? Isn't that great? How do I keep dying on the same part? I know you're coming. I know you're coming. Ah, fuck! It's because you outrun the screen. Why's it gotta be like that? And what's up with the punching? When you tap the button just once, it throws 2 or 3 punches. You can only punch while standing still, and if your timing isn't perfect, it leaves you vulnerable. Well, I've made it to the end of the screen, I think, so my only guess is that you're supposed to collect all these cheetah icons. I mean, who knows? It's not like the game gives you instructions. Oh, and after you die, just once, all the icons are back, so you might as well just reset. Ugh, getting on these vines is such a bitch. Ugh, and look at that. Am I on the vine, or what? I'm not gonna let that thing kill me this time. Oh, there's a bat. Oh, you mother of an ass! Look at this situation. Yes. No! I can't even beat the first level, and I'm trying as hard as I can. Oh my god, no, no, no! I don't believe it. I just can't believe it, that This is even less playable than the NES version. If they'd by now, they'd come back down to Earth and unfuck themselves. But you know what the really good news is? I'm done with Action 52.